Good afternoon, everyone. Light, energy, light, and information. Wow, what a spectacular topic that Dr. Eric and Jillian brought up this week. It's just so near and dear to my heart because of my near-death experience, having lived in the flow of all of that together at one time. And when he brought the topic up and began to talk about the fluidity of light, energy, and information, I decided to make a visual for myself because it helped me to put the parts together that helped me think about what I wanted to say and what I was thinking and what came up in my mind as I was listening to the beautiful meditation. When we think of meditation, we think of some of times as the love. We think of sometimes that that's God. And sometimes that's the universe. And the thing for myself is that is energy, light, and information. Energy and God are one and the same. Love and light are one and the same. The information, I made kind of a wavy line because information is always threading into a universe that it's ever expanding. It never stops, never starts. And when you think of the infinity symbol, this one with water just helped me to visualize that flow that is so important for all of us because it's that universal flow of energy that's within every single cell in our body, everywhere around us, everywhere in the universe, in every speck of everything we look at. And the intersection of that is a little bit about what I wanted to talk about today. Because, when we look at that intersection where the energy, light, and information is continually flowing. And Dr. Eric and Jillian made it so vivid for us in the meditation they did to show how synesthesia works together with every single one of our senses and the many we don't even understand that we have. Maybe 12 is what I decided from my near-death experience. And the fluidity of that is not linguistic. During my near-death experience, there were no words. It was a simple absorption of the information, which is a modeling of what we have in our existence here in this life. In fact, meditation for myself is really the training ground for living life here in the now, in this body of Terry Larkin. When we think of the fact that we have in ourselves such a pure joy, love, serenity that comes in meditation, if that's the training ground for existing on this plane so that we can bring that into our lives in those intersections. I know every one of you have experienced one of those moments where all of it flowed, where no time, no space had any definition for you. But in our everyday life, we can bring that training in, and I'm going to give you an example. My son, my older son, and my middle son, when they were younger, were outdoors playing in a tree. And my middle son decided to build this platform of a piece of wood to see if they jumped on it, would the piece of wood go flying up and would they fly up with it? And he was challenging my older son to try this first. And yes, of course, he jumped out on that, and of course the piece of wood hit him straight in the nose. And he was very hurt boy with a broken nose. And in the time that it took to get to the doctors, they sent him home saying there's not much you can do. He's got a broken nose. But it was not very long before he had a high fever and was listless, and I was rushing him off to a specialist someone had given to me. And then they rushed him off to the hospital saying that the blood was leaking right towards his brain, and that if he didn't have surgery soon, it would, once it landed in the brain, could cause brain damage. And I sat there in the hospital room, and the first thoughts that came to my mind were, darn, my husband's in Mexico on work, and what could I have done to make this not happen? And the guilt things came in, and all of a sudden, it was like something happened in my mind that took me back and said, ask. God is right there. Love is right there. And I was asking, is he going to be all right? Visualizing that love. And in an instant, I'm not sure what happened or how long this thought went through, but I came out with my body feeling total love, secure, and the knowledge of knowing he was going to be all right. And I hadn't even talked to the surgeons yet to know that the surgery was successful. Now that's an example of how we can be in the absolute worst time of our life, and we can put that into place. And we can do it little ways during our day. Just walking outside and getting that last flower of fall, and just taking a moment to really stare at it, look close, and take our body to that place. And in an instant, our body can be transported into that intersection. Or walking on a fall walk and seeing those amazing leaves beginning to turn and showing us that our lives turn as well. You know, I think what my biggest message is that we need to trust. We have to trust that it's there. And once we have that trust, I ended my book, The Light Gap, God's Amazing Presence, with the words that says, life is love living itself. And when we realize that we are love living that love, it's amazing what it can do in our everyday life, no matter what's going on in it. That's the real unwrapping of the gift that Dr. Eric was talking about. The inside, unwrapping it so that we can find that joy of life and be in that joy of life, smile, laugh, and have fun, even when things go wrong. So I hope you'll put in your comments, or my comments underneath my post, maybe a story of when you met that intersection where time and space stood still for you, even just in a tiny moment. They're beautiful. Thank you for being with me today, and I'll see you again.